Australia, a land of extremes. Endless red earth, towering termite mounds, burning heat, violent monsoon rains, vast stretches of eucalyptus woodland and tropical savanna that seem untouched by time itself. This is the wild north of Australia, the Kimberley region, the top end, remote stretches of Queensland and the Northern Territory. And hidden amongst the tall grasses and scattered gum trees lives one of the most breathtaking birds ever discovered, the Lady Gouldian Finch, a bird so vibrant, so impossibly colorful, that early Europeans explorers could hardly believe it was real. But to understand this bird, we have to travel back to the 1800s. In 1839, during a French scientific expedition aboard the ships L'Astrolabe and La Zélée, two French naval surgeons, Ambron and Jacquinot, collected and documented an extraordinary finch in northern Australia. They were among the first Europeans to record it. Imagine seeing this for the first time. A small finch with a purple chest, bright yellow belly, emerald back, and a face that could be jet black, deep red, or glowing golden yellow. It must have looked unreal against the dusty Australian landscape. They initially described it under a different scientific name, but the bird would soon receive the name the world knows now. Then, in 1844, British ornithologist John Gould formally described the species and named it Amadina gouldiae, later classified as Erythrura gouldiae. But here's where the story became deeply personal. Gould named the bird in honor of his wife, Elizabeth Gould, who was recently passed away. Elizabeth was a gifted illustrator who created many of the stunning bird plates that made Gould famous. She had worked tirelessly besides him, illustrating exotic birds from around the world. The Lady Gouldian Finch was not named after John Gould himself. It was named as a tribute to his late wife. A memorial in feathers, a living piece of art carrying her name across generations. And that romantic, almost tragic backstory only adds to the mystique of this species. In the wild, these finches inhabit tropical savanna woodlands across northern Australia. They move with the seasons, following grass seed availability after monsoon rains. They nest in tree hollows during the dry season, often high above the ground. And one of the most fascinating things about them? Their head colors. Gouldian finches naturally occur in three head morphs: black-headed, which is the most common, red-headed, and the rare yellow-headed morph. This isn't a mutation from captivity, it's natural genetic diversity in the wild. Even more fascinating, research suggests the different head colors may influence mate choice and social behavior. Nature designed them not just to survive, but to stand out. By the late 19th century, word of this bird had spread. Aviculturists in Europe were obsessed with exotic species, and the Gouldian finch quickly became one of the most desirable. Commercial trapping began in Western Australia around the 1890s. By 1887, the first Gouldians had already reached England. They were unlike any finch European breeders had seen before. Their colors rivaled tropical parrots, yet they were small, delicate, and exotic. Demand exploded. By the early 1900s, Gouldians were being exported in large numbers to Europe and eventually around the world. In fact, during the mid-20th century, they became one of the most exported finch species globally. In 1958 alone, over 11,000 Gouldians were trapped for export. Thousands more were caught in the decades before. They were prized, collected, shipped across oceans, and often, sadly, lost during transport. Despite heavy export numbers, aviculturists began successfully breeding them in captivity as early as the late 1800s. However, they gained a reputation for being delicate and difficult to breed. Many early breeders relied on foster parents like the society finches to raise Gouldian chicks. Over time, selective breeding improved hardiness, and with captivity came something new: color mutations. While wild birds naturally displayed red, black, and yellow heads, captive breeding introduced variations in body color intensity, dilution factors, and other unique traits. By the late 20th century, Gouldians had become a staple in aviaries across Europe, Asia, and the United States. Ironically, while their numbers declined, their captive population flourished. But back in Australia, the story was changing. Habitat changes, altered fire regimens, overgrazing by livestock, and heavy trapping pressure. By the late 20th century, wild Gouldian populations had dropped dramatically. The same bird once exported in massive numbers was now struggling in its native land. In response, Australia banned the export of native birds in 1959. Trapping eventually ended completely in the early 1980s. Conservation efforts began focusing on habitat protection and fire management. Today, the Lady Gouldian Finch is considered near threatened in the wild, a powerful reminder of how quickly beauty can become vulnerability. There's something poetic about the Gouldian Finch. It comes from one of the harshest landscapes on Earth, yet it's one of the most colorful birds in existence. It was named as a tribute to love and lost. It became a global icon of aviculture. It was trapped by the thousands, yet saved by legal protection. It declined in the wild, yet thrives in aviaries around the world. Few birds carry such a layered history: exploration, romance, trade, conservation, and resilience. So the next time you see a Lady Gouldian Finch, look beyond the colors. Remember the red earth of northern Australia. Remember the French explorers in 1839. Remember John Gould and Elizabeth. Remember the decades of trapping ships leaving Australian shores. And remember the delicate balance between admiration and exploitation. Because this tiny finch is more than just a beautiful bird. It's a living chapter of history.